Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are talking about something every leader creates, but few manage with intent: their leadership temperature. In 2026, as AI reshapes how we work, the conditions leaders create, hot or cold, determines whether performance ignites or shuts down. Joining us today is Reena Narayan, founder of Hot Leadership, and a leadership speaker on mission to transform the culture of work. So people love Mondays, not just Fridays. She helps leaders stay people first under pressure, even when that pressure is coming from every direction. So before further ado, let's welcome this special guest. Reena, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks, Kripa. It's so nice to be here.
Now, Reena, your core philosophy centers around this idea of a leadership temperature. It's a beautifully, simple metaphor for something that usually feels incredibly abstract in corporate environments. Let's start with the foundation first. Where did this concept of hot leadership come from? Because I'm sure we've not heard this before. And what does it actually mean to set the temperature of a room? Go ahead.
Sure. So, can I first ask you a question, Kripa?
Sure.
Without any context, can you tell me, would you rather work for a hot leader or a cold leader?
That depends on what the definition of hot means. If that hot means he is pushing that spark or igniting that spark in me, then definitely the hot one. But if the cold means that he's going to make me work at my own pace and give me that extra support, then maybe cold as well. So it depends at what stage I am and what I'm needing personally as well. So maybe I'm not sure if that's the correct answer, but
Look, there's no right answer. When I
yeah.
ask the question, most people generally say hot, and it's because we can feel what hot means, right?
Hmm.
We associate that with empathy and humility and passion and fire, and that's what
Right.
hot leadership is all about. So let me tell you a story about where hot leadership came from, where it all started.
Hmm.
So I'm from New Zealand, in case you can hear the accent.
Right.
And 15 hours before our flight, my husband and I, to move to Toronto, I turned and I said to him, "Hey, serious question. What if we stayed?" The kind soul that he is, he asks me, "Okay, so tell me more. We're about to jump on a plane. We've sold everything." I didn't want to leave because of my work. I absolutely loved what I did. I looked forward to Mondays, sometimes so much that I would show up at 6 a.m. just out of sheer excitement for what I did.
Hmm.
I had ownership of my work. I had a purpose, and I felt so connected to the impact that I was creating. And it wasn't the job, it was the conditions my leader had created for me, these hot conditions where my passion was on fire and I was tapping into potential I never knew I had. I could think big, take risks, and step out of my comfort zone to create a real impact. And that's what hot leadership does. It makes people question leaving a country when you're hours away from a big life adventure that's going to take you to the other side of the world.
Wow, I think that's a beautiful story. And I love that definition. It frames leadership not just, as a static title or a rank, but also as an active atmosphere that you carry with you in every single meeting and interaction as well. So it's a beautiful concept. Thank you so much for introducing me and our audience to it. Now, Reena, let's explore the hidden costs of cold and reactive leadership. So the question to you is, what exactly happens to an organization or a team when pressure takes over and leadership goes cold? And how can a leader recognize it in themselves, in their team, before it's way too late?
So, first, cold leadership isn't bad leadership. And this is a really big part to understand. Cold leadership is unintentional leadership.
Hmm.
It's when the pressure leads us instead of us leading our people. And this is where people first leadership takes the hit. So I recently spoke to somebody, and they're the type of person who would run towards challenges that go above and beyond in their work. And they recently told me that these days they just do what they're told, nothing more.
Hmm.
It felt like a punch to the stomach to hear that because I know this person and their capability, their passion and their fire, right? But what's changed is a new leader has come on board and their focus is different, to focus on results and not their people. And what this has done is it's left this person feeling like a cog in the system.
Mhm.
That's the impact of cold leadership. It turns someone who once deeply cared about what they did into someone who survives the day. And no one wins in that equation, right? Not the person, not the leader, and most definitely not the organization. So when pressure takes over, what happens is we stop seeing the people behind the work.
Mhm.
And people don't stop showing up to work. They don't stop working, but they stop thinking. Their brains turn off. They step
Mhm.
out of performance mode and into protection mode just to survive the day. And we see this coming up in moments in meetings where we ask a question and nobody responds. We're after new ideas and the room is completely quiet.
Mhm.
What happens is the foundational work gets done, but we're not leveling up. We're not seeing the opportunities and we're not coming up with the next groundbreaking idea to innovate, to propel us forward. That's potential that's untapped.
Wow, you've articulated that very beautifully because that is a scary reality check, right? Cold leadership, it kind of triggers a survival response where people, quietly switch off. They minimize their risk and do just what is required or just enough to, get by. And innovation completely dies in a cold room. So thank you so much for that great reminder today, Reena. I'd also like to look at why human leadership matters more in the AI era, because this conversation today is incomplete without, the artificial intelligence conversation. So, why is hot leadership no longer just a nice to have cultural metric, but also a distinct competitive advantage for businesses operating in heavily automated, AI driven marketplace? Please go ahead and explain the importance of human connection. Go ahead.
I love the framing of human connection. So the whole world has changed. We all know that. We're all living it. A
Mhm.
long time ago, the advantage was in having access to information. Then it shifted to having knowledge. It was what we knew, our capabilities, our expertise. Now, AI, it has both. It has the information and it gives us access, and it has the knowledge, all packaged up, ready for us to all use. So our competitive advantage has shifted again. It's
Mhm.
no longer in what we know, it's in how we think to leverage AI. Now, the growth mindset served us really well. It was about learning and continuously improving everything that existed. But the AI era, it's not about improving. It's about redesigning, reinventing, and reimagining the future of how we work and live. So this needs a new mindset, one that pushes limits, breaks ceilings, and asks the questions we've never asked before.
Mhm.
We need to unlock a new mindset, one that I call our evolutionary mindset.
Mhm.
And for me, the new currency of high performance in the AI era is high performance thinking. And high performance thinking only turns on when the conditions are hot. And I know this because I've been in both rooms.
Wow, I just love how beautifully you explain concepts, Reena. And building on what you've said, I'd like to give a special message to all of our listeners right now, specifically to all the entrepreneurs and business owners watching right now. In 2026, the competitive edge is no longer just about what your business knows or how fast your tech stacks run. It's about how your people think. And human breakthrough thinking only turns on when leaders create spaces where people feel backed, trusted, and safe to move boldly. Reena is showing us that passion and loyalty are the true growth engines of the modern economy. If you are ready to stop letting pressure dictate your culture and want to learn how to lead hot under pressure, reach out to Reena directly at Reena@reenanarayan.com or connect with her on LinkedIn as well. We'll mention all the links in the description below. Don't just build a business, build a culture that people actually want to show up for on a Monday morning. So thank you so much, Reena. Coming back to you. Um, we talked about the hot environment and cold environment not being bad and what is needed and what is not, but now let's explore the gap between leadership intent and team impact. In a busy modern workplace, what does hot leadership actually look like in practice, in actual workflow? And how do we bridge that gap between a leader's good intentions and their daily real world impact?
Let me answer this with another story. I'm all about the stories. Hot leadership has given me the space to become something I never expected of myself.
Mhm.
I've stepped into the world of experimenting with AI. Now, I don't come from a technical background. I come from the world of change and transformation. And a year
Right.
ago, if you had told me that I'd be deploying code, configuring automations, and building apps, I would have absolutely laughed at you. So, AI has allowed me to expand my capabilities and the impact that I can create. But
Mhm.
this was only possible because of the conditions my leaders have created for me, the hot conditions. I've had safety to try, permission to fail, autonomy to pursue ideas that are truly radical and out of the box, some of which have created real impact, and others that haven't panned out and turned into fails.
Mhm.
But it's the leaders that have created the conditions, the environment for me to feel safe, to be able to try, take the risks, and fail, because the reward of all of that panning out is innovation.
Mhm.
The bridge between intention and impact is the hot leadership practice. If you take only one thing away from today's
Mhm.
conversation, let it be this: a question that you ask yourself from today onwards. Am I leading hot or cold right now? That's it.
That's a great question that I think is going to sort a lot of priorities in a lot of people's heads, specifically leaders, right? And it comes down to clarity and micro behaviors at the end of the day, because behind those designations, those screens are actual humans that are operating, right? So it's the small, consistent signals that tell a team that they are believed in, which bridges that gap perfectly well. Finally, let's look at building a workplace culture people genuinely want to be a part of. So, everything that we talked about, imagine if we were doing it in practice. So, what then? When an organization, successfully adopts hot leadership, how does it fundamentally transform their collective team culture, performance, and long-term retention? So, just paint the picture for us, Reena.
It's all about the language. So, hot leadership starts to impact culture when the language gets adopted. And it's simple: hot and cold, right? We all know it, we can all
Yeah.
feel it. Anyone can use it. So, imagine a leader kicks off Monday morning's meeting and asks, "Who's feeling hot today?" We can feel that energy already, right?
Mhm.
Now, a teammate may come through and say, "I've had a cold morning. I've been tackling a lot of fires." There's no judgment, there's no blame in that room. This shared language, it creates humility and authenticity to show up as we are in the room. I'll share one of my favorite culture shift stories.
Sure.
I was in a leadership session in Richmond, Virginia, and
Mhm.
mid-session, I'd made a throwaway joke. And one of the younger leaders called out, "Hey, that's cold leadership." And he was right. We all had a laugh, but what this shows is the power of the practice. In a
Mhm.
half day, a team had adopted the language, turned it into their own, and they were using it to help everyone in the room stay people first, myself included. And the key thing here is that we can never be hot all the time. That's not the aim of the game. The
Yeah.
aim of the game is to catch when we're drifting cold so that we can reset and shift our temperature back to leading hot.
Wow, I think that is a beautiful metric for success, because when people love Mondays, retention issues solve themselves and performance organically ignites because people are running towards a vision and not running away from stress, if that makes sense, right? I'm loving this conversation today, Reena, and definitely we'd love for you to be back, hopefully, for an in person episode that we do the next with you. But for now, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have for our listeners today, for the business owners and organizational leaders listening who want to shift their corporate thermostat but don't know where to take that first leap of step or hope from, if you could whisper one thing into their ears, what would you say and why?
I might whisper three things if that's okay, but the
Uh-huh.
first is ask yourself the question, self reflect. Before your next meeting, am I leading hot or cold right now? That's the first thing you can do. The second, if you're curious, take the leadership temperature check on my website to find out where you're sitting on your leadership temperature scale. And
Mhm.
the third, if you're truly serious about winning this battle against disengagement, where 4 out of 5 people are showing up with a paycheck mindset, you really want to unlock that high performance thinking in this AI era, reach out to me on LinkedIn or on my website, Lead Hot Not Cold. I run keynotes. I offer workshops to help leaders unlock their hot leadership practice to lead hot and human. Because when people first leadership becomes our default, we ignite the passion, the potential, and the performance that's walking into our organizations every single day. So, my last line will be to lead hot, not cold, my friends, because people first ignites so much that we need in the world.
Wow, that's a brilliant starting point, Reena. Self awareness and taking responsibility for the temperature you bring into the room. That's amazing. Reena, thank you so much for melting away the corporate jargon and giving us a human roadmap today. We're very thankful.
Thank you so much, Kripa, for having me. This was a lot of fun.
All right, that was Reena Narayan from Hot Leadership. In the AI era, the competitive advantage is no longer what we know, it's how we think. And thinking only turns on when leaders create rooms that are hot and human. The question is, are you leading hot or is pressure leading you cold? So, to all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more such resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit the Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our partners, UPS, our shipping partner, and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.